This healthy yogurt sitting in your fridge right now may contain the exact same artificial sweetness as a can of Diet Coke. Not a similar ingredient, not something like it, the same chemicals. Sucralose and acesulfame potassium, mixed into a cup of yogurt and sold to you as a health food. If you switch to light yogurt to lose weight, protect your heart, or control your blood sugar, this video is for you. Because here's what happened while you were reading the front of the label. The food industry took dessert, changed their name on the package, and called it health food. By novel classifications, these are ultra-processed foods, masquerading as whole foods. In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 yogurt traps to stop buying today, the specific brands, the hidden chemicals, and the labeling tricks they use to hide them. And at the end, I'll give you one dead simple rule to spot these fakes in any grocery store in 10 seconds flat. If you've been buying any of these brands, it's not your fault. The labels are engineered to mislead you. But once you see how this works, you will never look at the yogurt aisle in the same way. So let's talk about how we got here. Yogurt used to be simple: milk, cultures, and maybe some fruit. In 1977, Dannon ran an ad featuring a woman in Sauget, Georgia, who lived to be 114 years old. She ate yogurt. The message was clear: this food keeps you alive, and Americans believed it. Yogurt sales boomed for a decade. Then came the low-fat craze in the 90s, then the light era in 2000s. The company started pulling out the fat, pulling out the sugar, and replacing them with artificial sweetness to keep the calorie count low. And then the Greek yogurt explosion in 2010s, where protein became the selling point and brands raced to stack the label with impressive numbers. Here's the pattern. Every decade, the industry latches onto a new health trend and uses it as cover to add more processed ingredients. The yogurt got further and further from actual food, but the health halo stuck. Today, the US yogurt market is worth $10.8 billion a year. That's according to the Circana scanner data from August of 2024. The low-sugar yogurt segment alone is worth $2.2 billion, and it's growing at merely 18% a year, almost double the rate of regular yogurt. That kind of money creates an incentive to make products look healthy whether they are or not. And the way they do it is with the label. Once you understand how the label game works, these 5 traps will jump out at you every time you shop. So here's how we're going to break these down. First, I'll walk you through the 5 worst yogurt traps on store shelves right now, the brand, the trick, and what it's actually doing to your body. Then, we'll zoom out and look at how the system allows this to happen, including one ingredient the FDA literally rewrote the rules for in 2019. And finally, I'll give you 2 simple rules for choosing a yogurt that's actually good for you with no chemistry degree required. Let's get into it. Dannon, with their Light Plus Fit Greek non-fat yogurt. This is one of the most popular yogurts in America. 80 calories, 0 fat, 12 grams of protein. It's in gym bags, it's in office fridges, it's in hospital cafeterias. The entire brand is built around the idea that this is what smart, healthy people eat. Now let's look at what's actually inside. The sweeteners are fructose, acesulfame potassium, and sucralose. Acesulfame potassium, also called ACE-K or E950 in European labeling, is the same artificial sweetener used in Coke Zero and Diet Pepsi. Sucralose is the chemical behind Splenda. It's made by swapping out molecules in the sugar and replacing them with chlorine. It is 600 times sweeter than table sugar. Those aren't healthy food ingredients, those are diet soda ingredients. Repacked in a cup with a spoon. But it gets worse. Flip the container over and look at the ingredient list on the strawberry flavor. What is the second ingredient, before any dairy? Ingredient Inspector, an independent food analyst site, counted 11 ingredients in this yogurt that are, quote, not in your kitchen. Among them, modified food starch, artificial flavors, potassium sorbate, which is a chemical preservative, and common 9, which is a red dye made from crushed cochineal insects. That's right, the red color in your Strawberry Light Fit doesn't come from strawberries, it comes from ground up bugs. And none of that is on the front of the label. The front says 80 calories, 12 grams of protein, and 0 grams of fat. The front tells you what to celebrate, the back tells you what to worry about. Here's the health concern. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Toxicology and Environmental Health found that sucralose 6-acetate, a compound your body creates when it digests sucralose, is genotoxic, meaning it damages DNA. Recent research also links artificial sweeteners to disruption of the gut microbiome. The lead researcher, Dr. Susan Schiffman, at North Carolina State University said it plainly. We found that sucralose 6-acetate is genotoxic and that it effectively broke up DNA cells that were exposed to the chemical. Now, that was a lab study on cells, not a human trial. It's not proof that eating Light Plus Fit will give you cancer, but it is a reason to ask, why is this chemical in my yogurt at all? Especially when the other brands have already removed it? If that surprises you, wait until you see trap number 2, because this next brand isn't just hiding diet soda chemicals, it's lying about what's on the label. Yoplait Light, 6 ounces, 80 calories, fat-free. Sounds familiar, right? They even use the same artificial sweeteners, sucralose and acesulfame potassium, plus a newer ingredient called Allulose, which we'll get to in a minute. But Yoplait Light has a problem that others don't. It makes a claim on its packaging that specific flavors directly contradict. The brand label marketing says, no colors from artificial sources. But if you pick up the key lime pie flavor and you read the ingredients, you'll find yellow number 5 and blue number 1. If you pick up the cherry flavor, you'll find red number 40 and blue number 1. Those are FDA certified synthetic dyes. They are by definition artificial colors, and they are products that say they don't use artificial colors. That's not a gray area. That's a direct contradiction between what the brand promises and what specific flavors deliver. And here's the part that should make you angry. Yoplait already knows consumers don't want artificial sweeteners. Around 2014 and 2015, the company quietly switched Yoplait Light from aspartame to sucralose because the backlash against aspartame was hurting cells. They didn't remove artificial sweeteners, they swapped one for another, and they kept selling it as health food. Meanwhile, Yoplait Light also contains modified food starch, cornstarch, kosher gelatin, which makes it non-vegetarian, even though most buyers don't realize that, and potassium sorbate. If you or someone you care about has been buying Yoplait Light because the label felt trustworthy, I understand. That's exactly what the label was designed to make you feel. But the next trap is different. It's not about artificial sweeteners at all. It's about a word you think you understand, zero sugar. That doesn't mean what you think it means. This one isn't about a single brand. It's about the labeling loophole the FDA created in 2019, and several yogurt companies immediately exploited. The ingredient is allulose. Allulose is a monosaccharide. That's a fancy word for a simple sugar molecule. It occurs naturally in very small amounts in foods like figs and raisins. It tastes like sugar, it behaves like sugar. Chemically, it's sugar. But in 2019, the FDA exempted allulose from both the total sugars and added sugars lines on nutrition labels. The reasoning was that allulose provides only about 1/10 the calories of regular sugar, roughly 0.4 calories per gram instead of 4. Fair enough, but here's the result. Products now contain allulose, the sugar molecule that legally print 0 grams of sugar on the label. Chobani Zero Sugar Yogurt does exactly this. It uses allulose along with stevia and mumfried. The front of the cup says 0 sugar with an asterisk. The fine print says includes a dietary insignificant amount of sugar. The class action lawsuit was filed, arguing the 0 sugar claim was misleading because the product contained 4 grams of allulose, which is again the sugar. In May 2025, a federal judge dismissed the case, fighting the FDA's own rules exempting allulose from sugar labels. So the government created the loophole, the company used the loophole, and the court upheld the loophole. And a person in the store, just trying to manage their blood pressure or follow a low-sugar diet, well, they never knew the difference. Now, to be fair, allulose is not the same as sucralose or aspartame. It's not an artificial chemical. It doesn't appear to damage DNA, and Chobani Zero Sugar uses no artificial sweeteners. Its other sweeteners are stevia and monk fruit, both plant-derived. But when the label says 0 sugar and the product contains sugar, that's a labeling problem. and it's one the FDA chose to create. Alright, it's the first 3 traps were about chemicals and loopholes. This next one is even simpler, and honestly, it might be the most common mistake in the entire yogurt aisle. Now, this one catches almost everyone, including people who never buy a light or zero sugar yogurt. Some of the most trusted, most natural looking yogurt brands on the shelf contain more sugar per serving than a Snickers bar. The Snickers bar has 20 grams of sugar. Kobani's Flip Clover Honey has 36 grams of added sugar, while Phage's 0% honey also has 36 grams. Bammon's Caramel Macchiato has 33 grams of sugar. That's not a typo. A single cup of flavored yogurt, the kind with the nice fonts and the clean packaging, the words Greek and protein on the front, can pack nearly double the sugar of a candy bar. And Americans are eating an average of 82 grams of sugar a day, 2 to 3 times the recommended amount. This is the health halo at work. Because the word yogurt is on the label, your brain files it under healthy before you can even check the nutritional facts. You'd think twice about eating a candy bar for breakfast, but yogurt, that's what responsible people eat. The data backs this up. The study published in BMJ Open found that flavored fruit and organic yogurt categories had median sugar contents between 10 and 13 grams per 100 grams. That's in line with many desserts. And here's the quiet part. Plain yogurt, the kind with no flavoring, no sweetness, contains only about 5 grams of naturally occurring lactose per 100 grams. No added sugar at all. The difference between plain yogurt and flavored yogurt isn't a small tweak. It's the difference between a whole food and a dessert with a health food label. Now, one more trap to go, and this one is specifically designed for people who think they've already found the solution. Oikos 000. This brand became a huge hit because of its name, 000. 0% fat, 0 grams of added sugar, 0 artificial sweetness, clean marketing, given impressive protein at 15 grams per cup. And it uses stevia, a plant-derived sweetener, instead of sucralose, or base K. On paper, this sounds like everything you'd want, but the product you're buying today is not the product that built that reputation. Sometime in 2024, Oikos quietly reformulated 000. They removed the chicory root fiber, which had been providing 6 grams of dietary fiber per serving, and replaced it with tapioca starch. Fiber content dropped from 6 grams to 0. They also eliminated carrageenan from some flavors, carrageenan being a controversial seaweed-derived thickener that some researchers linked to digestive inflammation. The name didn't change, the marketing didn't change, the 000 label still sits on the front, but the product inside the cup is meaningfully different. Less fiber, different texture, different nutritional value. And here's the important issue this points to. In May 2023, the World Health Organization issued a guideline recommending against using non-sugar sweeteners, including stevia, for weight control. The review of the evidence found that long-term use of non-nutritive sweeteners was associated with increased risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease in observational studies. Dr. Francesco Branca, WHO's Director of Nutrition, put it this way: if consumers are faced with the decision of whether to take cola with sweeteners or one with sugar, I think there should be a third option, which is to drink water instead. That doesn't mean stevia is dangerous. It's not in the same category as sucralose or aspartame, but it does mean that even the clean, sugar-free yogurts aren't the free pass they're marketed to be. The pattern across all 5 traps is the same. The label tells one story, the ingredient list tells another, and the company changes the recipe whenever it suits them, without changing the story. So, who's supposed to be protecting you from all this? In theory, the FDA. The FDA has approved 6 high-intensity artificial sweeteners for use in food: saccharin, aspartame, acesulfame potassium, sucralose, liotane, and advantame. According to the FDA, all 6 are safe under approved conditions. But here's the contrast. On July 14, 2023, the International Agency of Research on Cancer That's the Cancer Research Farm of the World Health Organization, classified aspartame as a Group 2B, possibly carcinogenic to humans. Their classification was based on limited evidence linking aspartame to liver cancer. That same day, the FDA released a statement disagreeing with the classification. They said their own review of the evidence showed no safety concerns. Same science, different conclusions, and the difference tells you exactly whose side each agency is on. Now look at Europe. The EU requires food labels to explicitly state with sweetener on the front of the package. Specific sweeteners must be listed by name and E number, like E950 and acesulfame potassium. You can't hide them in fine print. In the US, you have to flip the package over, find the ingredient list, and know what acesulfame potassium means. Europe also does not approve monk fruit extract as a food sweetener. It's still regulated under novel food rules. Meanwhile, in the US, monk fruit has been used since 2010. Different standards, different transparency, same customers trying to feed their families. This is why products you trusted for decades suddenly feel different. It's not you, it's the system. Alright, if your head is spinning from label tricks and chemical names, here's the good news. You don't need to memorize any of this. I'm not asking you to give up yogurt. Yogurt can be genuinely good for you. The FDA recently approved its first ever qualified health claim for yogurt, that eating at least 2 cups a week may reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes. The irony is that yogurt is famous for its probiotics, beneficial bacteria that support the gut. But these processed additives may undermine the very benefits that make yogurt valuable. I'm just giving you a quick filter. Rule number 1. Flip the cup and count the ingredients. If there is more than 5 or 6, especially if you see words like sucralose or acesulfame potassium, modified food starch, or potassium sorbate, put it back. Rule number 2. If it tastes like dessert, treat it like dessert. A yogurt with 36 grams of sugar isn't breakfast, it's cake in a cup. If you want yogurt that's actually clean, start with plain. Plain Greek yogurt typically has 2 or 3 ingredients: milk, cream, and live cultures, about 5 grams of naturally occurring lactose, high protein, and no sweeteners of any kind. Add your own berries, add a drizzle of honey, where you control the amount. That way, you know exactly what's in it, because you put it there. If plain is too tart for you, Faig's True Blend is worth a look. It uses no sweeteners at all. No artificial, no stevia, no monk fruit, just strained yogurt. Real fruit pectin, chicory root fiber, and natural vanilla. About 110 calories and 13 grams of protein. 72% of American consumers say they're trying to limit or avoid sugar entirely. That's according to the International Food Information Council. The demand is there. The industry knows it. The question is whether they'll meet that demand with real food or with better disguised chemistry. So let me bring us back to where we started. Some of the most popular healthy yogurts in America contain the same artificial sweeteners as diet soda, sucralose and acesulfame potassium, hidden behind calorie counts and protein numbers, and words like light and fit. Others use labeling loopholes to print 0 sugar on products that contain sugar molecules. Others pack in more sugar per serving than a Snickers bar, while trading on yogurt's reputation as a health food. And the companies reformulate whenever they want, changing what's inside the cup without changing what's on the font. None of that is your fault. The labels are built to mislead. But now you know. 2 rules. Flip the cup, count the calories. If it reads like a chemistry set, it's not health food, no matter what the front of the label says.